Hello! Welcome to Push to Shout Podcast, episode 54. I'm Mike.
Yippee.
And we got stuff to talk about. Fallout 4, the Game Awards, the Keeleys coming up, all kinds of hot business around the gaming corner, and you're at the number one gaming news source for all your gaming information. Skippy, tell us about gaming. What does gaming mean to you in your life?
It's basically just a constant burden on me, and always has been, and always will be. But if we're going to get specific, I've been playing some Fallout 4, and
yeah, let's just start with a Fallout 4 discussion.
I have a confession. I actually am kind of enjoying Fallout 4 quite a bit.
Okay.
That's not to say it's a good game, but I'm enjoying it.
Well,
what do you? Because you've got much less to say about Fallout.
Yeah. So I started it. I paid $60 for it. I read competent reviews of it that said it was good. I started playing. I hated the beginning. It was a very dumb beginning. And then after it kind of turned me loose. Okay, well, within the first hour of the game, you have full power armor and are gunning down a Deathclaw with a machine gun in a town square. That's
terrible.
Your intro to Fallout. It really is
awful.
Just dumb. Because they're supposed to be built up as these horrible, strong enemies, and it just ruins the effect. But anyway, after that, it gave me a kill all the raiders quest, and I walked over to the objective, and I just lost motivation to play. And I said, okay, I'll relaunch it tomorrow. I'll give it one more try. I do that. I start walking toward the raiders, and I'm like, I have no motivation to play this now or probably ever. So I just refunded it.
That's
I was bored.
After 100 minutes in, I quit. Said I don't know about this, and then I started again like the next day, and I started to get it a little bit. What's going on with our live stream there? It just started late, but whatever.
I did it. Whatever.
For those watching live, sorry about the technical issues, I guess. But anyway,
I'll give it one more try.
The beginning of the game, the first hour and a half or so, is probably one of the worst starts to any game I've ever seen in my life. And
yeah, it sucks ass.
That's especially bad because Bethesda's always been bad. So Oblivion had a super long tutorial section that was really tedious and not very much fun. And then Skyrim starts with all this like janky dialogue and animations and stuff. Really bad start to Skyrim in my opinion. And then Fallout 3 started with this long vault sequence that I think some people liked and some didn't, and I didn't think it was very good. Fallout 4 continues the tradition with just... So first of all, you get the prologue part, which just sucks. It's just bad to me. Like nothing... It doesn't make you interested in what's about to happen, because like you get maybe 15 minutes of like learning who your character is, which your character's voice now, which is kind of weird, and who your wife is, and that you have a son and a robot, and then an atomic bomb alert goes off, and you go to the vault, and that's it. That's that.
Yeah, it's just this dumb scripted sequence that you have to sit through, and first of all, they showed it all in that first trailer.
Oh, I didn't watch it. I don't think.
I mean, the whole beginning is in there. From the pre-war setting to the bomb, and then lowering down, and even finding the dog. Like all the first portion of the game, and the machine gun, all of that was shown in the very first trailer. It's just
you can't knock that.
Doesn't
game,
interest
that's
me.
Marketing, But basically, just that whole section should be really awesome because it's like I'm super interested in that kind of stuff. Like, what would happen if if there was a threat of nuclear war, and like how would people react and stuff? And it's just the most generic and badly made scene of such a cool concept where like you've got all the scripted NPCs doing their janky running animation and weird dialogue that doesn't sound right at all. Like it's very like when you hear the dialogue,
I gotta get the suitcase. No, you don't need that.
Yeah. Like, it's very much like, oh, this was recorded in a studio and then placed. You can, like, see the exact point where they placed the sound on the map of the world, and it's, like, coming out of that one spot, and there's just... Oh, the sound design is really bad, and that bothers me a lot. And that's the whole game, those kinds of issues. But it was a terrible start, and you're right. You get power armor in literally, like, the first mission, which that should be, to me, something that you build up to and, like, start... I think it'd be really cool if you, like, started building it, like, literally building it piece by piece, and it's, like, a motivation to, like, get it put together, and then you get in it, and it would be, like, a really cool
just take
thing.
it immediately.
But, yeah, you just...
How do you meet your dog companion? Oh, you just fucking find them.
Yeah, there's nothing interesting about meeting the dog or anything, it's just...
And it's so... Okay, this is what upset me as a fan of Fallout. I love Fallout 1 and 2. They're amazing games. And this is just the farthest the series has ever been from those original games. You talk to people...
Fallout 3 is the same thing.
No, it's worse in this. At least when you go to the first... Fallout 3 tries to railroad you toward Megaton. That's just how it is. But it gives you the option to destroy Megaton very early and makes that clear as an option. I just tried quick saving and killing Preston whatever, most boring character ever conceived, Minuteman guy. I tried killing him and his companions, and you just can't.
Tried doing that.
They're all invincible, and that sucks. That's like the whole point of a Fallout game.
And a Bethesda game.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be free. You're supposed to be able to do whatever you want and ignore the main quest.
And
but
this,
instead
it's
like,
not
no,
just
you can't
like...
kill these people.
Yeah. Normally, a critical story, like a story important NPC, you shouldn't be, that makes sense. But when the little nobodies, the NPCs who are just there, allied with Preston fuckface, and they're unkillable, it's like, I don't feel, this isn't believable. It's just...
Not only is it not believable, you don't actually feel like... And I think this is a huge issue with the game. You don't really feel like you have that feeling of, this character can be whatever I want it to be, and the story can be whatever I want it to be. Instead, it's, you are this character that we have made, who is voice acted, and looking for his son, and these other characters that you interact with, they can't die. It feels much more forced, like this is a story that you have to do, almost. And I don't like that at all. It totally... does not work for their style of game. And I never played Fallout 1 and 2, so it doesn't bother me in the regard of, like, it's not like the old games, because I'd never played them. But I don't know if those had, like, I don't know how much the main character mattered in those games, but regardless, it doesn't work. It does not work in this game.
Well, you can blame a lot of that on the bad dialogue system, and it's just bad. Like,
it's a bad system.
Especially compared to Fallout, what Fallout's done in the past.
It's like worse than Mass Effect 1.
Yeah, even Fallout 3, it listed out what you would say. And there was a cool comparison that somebody made, an image, that put dialogue options in Fallout 3 next to one in Fallout 4. And it shows you, like, the charisma, the medicine,
but you're right,
the stat checks, and they have, like, a unique little line for each one. Fallout 4, you usually have an agreement, a question. Super Bunny Hop pointed out, very rarely do you ever get to refuse people. So the no is very rarely an option. And then you always have the sarcasm button. And I tried pressing it. Lots of BioWare games have these. Dragon Age has like an explicit comic option that you can pick. And usually they're fine, but can be a little awkward. In this game, I only did it a couple times, but when you pick the sarcasm option, it's usually painfully bad. Like, it's like nerd humor.
I almost always choose that option, and it's awkward, but I don't think it's any more awkward than all the other options. I think all the options are awkward and bad. They're terrible. A lot of the times, including the sarcasm option, it has this classic problem that for some reason they haven't realized has been a problem for the last decade and a half of, like, they've summarized what you're going to say in a way that doesn't actually accurately summarize what your intent is with what you're saying. So it'll be like, you click no, and in your mind you might be thinking like, oh, he's just turning them down in a respectful manner, and then he's like,
go to hell.
Why would I want to do that or something like that? And whoa, I don't want to say that, and that's just constant, and that's such like a well-known issue with older RPG games that I'm shocked that they're still doing it. Like it blows me away that they haven't bothered to say like, oh, wait a minute, maybe we should.
And none of the you kind of went silent, even though your mouth kept moving.
Oh, sorry. It's probably because I moved my microphone away from it.
Okay, none of it's helped by how awkward the choreography of the camera and the characters is. It's even more pronounced in this, which is surprising. In Fallout 3, they at least froze the action and they looked directly at you. They stared into your soul with their Bethesda eyes, and that was just how the conversations went. In this, they try to have like the camera moving around and looking at different but it just sucks. It cuts at these weird times, and like the volume of the characters talking changes depending on where the camera is, and if anything walks in the way, the conversation will just stop, or if you look somewhere it doesn't want you to look, everything just stops and you have to restart.
Yeah,
sometimes they just stop talking to each other for no reason.
Yeah, and sometimes the camera will be stuck in a desk, and another NPC will walk between you two and cancel it out, or start talking to you even though the other NPC is still talking to you, and that is totally bizarre. I think it's no worse than what it was before, but the crazy part is that they've clearly tried so hard to improve it, but they've only moved sideways, and it's bad for different reasons now. Yeah. And that's how I would summarize Fallout 4 in general, is like it's bad for different reasons, or bad for some of the same reasons, even though they've clearly tried to divert those issues. It's crazy. And we could go on and on about all the technical issues, but I think everyone pretty much knows it's a very broken game in a lot of ways. But I also think just like in general, like some very specific design choices can be really bizarre. Like there's no tutorialization, or there's like a little bit, but not very much at all. And some
that was
some
weird.
of the concepts get pretty complicated. And then there's some things that are like hidden behind. So all the UI stuff is terrible because they try to make it like the Pip-Boy screen, and they're trying to authentically make it seem like how an old computer looks, where you're kind of navigating through the BIOS. But that's bad. It's always been bad. I don't want to go back to how I understand it's authentic, but I feel like they should have tried harder to like actually make it easier to use, rather than focusing on like, oh, it's cool because it looks, crazy old and fits the style. Like I'm a big fan of like a continuous or a consistent style, but not when it sacrifices gameplay or navigability. That navigating the menus,
it feels less responsive than Fallout 3, because they clearly are using some fancy. It looks kind of like Scaleform, like some prefab menu software, because it looks like the same interface that would be on the phone. The draw is that you can have this Pip-Boy app and do it from there, and it kind of looks that way. That some of the little decorations, if you want to call them, from Fallout 3, like the screen effects aren't there, and it just feels weird to click on the tabs. It feels like it's going to be exactly the same on the smartphone.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's necessarily the reason, because Bethesda games have always been bad about that, about like navigating stuff on the PC when it's clearly designed for like a controller or whatever. So, but I tried using a controller for a little bit, and it's no better in terms of control. Like there's a lot of really bizarre decisions on what buttons do what, and that's even worse on the keyboard, because it'll be like if you're navigating through computer screens, like hacking into a terminal, and you get to a text that carries onto another screen. This is the only time you have to press this key in the game, or not in the game, but in any terminals or UI. You have to press either E or, I thought it was Enter for a while. I thought that was the only button you could press. But you have to press Enter or E to go to the next screen, even though on all the other things you can just click to go to the next screen. And just little things like that just all add up and are a constant annoyance, like constant. It's a badly made game, and that does not surprise me at all. We knew that this was going to be a badly made game going in. That said, I got to be positive because I actually am enjoying it. I'm probably about 10 hours in now, and I'm actually having fun with it. Even with things that I didn't think I would have fun with. So I stopped doing the main story pretty quickly and did some side quests, and they were all pretty enjoyable. Which, again, that's standard fare because like the main quest is always one of the worst parts of Bethesda games. And so I specifically this time tried to avoid just going down that path of the main quest, that's ruined some Bethesda games. Like Skyrim, I did the main quest first. Like that's what
Same.
I did, and it ruined it for me. And Fallout 3, to an extent, the same happened. So that's helped a lot because I'm actually experiencing the good, interesting content that isn't just that terrible. Just like, oh, where's my baby? And he can't figure out that, of course, his son's going to be older than a baby because he's in a cryogenic sleep chamber thing. Like,
that turned out to be true? I just heard.
Yes, it did turn out to be true, but of course it was going to be true. Like, of course, obviously.
Yeah, there's no way they would be.
Yeah.
When that leaked, I was kind of like, well, that sounds very dumb, but I can totally believe that's how it ends.
But like, well, it's not how it ends. I'm
Or
10 hours
is.
in, and I did another main quest, and finally it's revealed, oh, he's older than you think he is. But like the whole time, I've been screaming at my character saying, he's not a baby. Like he's telling everyone, I've lost my baby. I'm looking for a baby. And it's like, how could you not figure out that he might not be a baby because you've been in cryogenic sleep? You just assume that you woke up right after.
And that's exactly the kind of stuff that Fallout 1 and 2 did so well. Your character can literally be too dumb to make basic connections and will just miss out on obvious shit. And when you have a higher intelligence stat, then they'll like notice, wait a minute, well if that's true, then I guess I don't really need to go there because it means you can actually reason that stuff out. Those games are so good.
It'd be cool, and I think it'd be consistent with what I know of like the first and second Fallout humor styles. If your character did a lot of stupid things in kind of a funny way where you knew he was just being a stupid person, rather than just saying, oh, this is badly written. That's the only impression that I get is it's badly, and everything about it is badly written, and it's voice acted by this guy who I think he's a fine voice actor.
He's but knockoff Troy Baker.
Yeah, they try to make him read some lines that'll be like intimidating, like you're trying to be cool and intimidating, and it doesn't work at all because the guy sounds just like this. It just kind of sounds, I'm just a dude in the wasteland, and so he'll say like, I'm gonna kill you, motherfucker, and it's like, it's terrible.
Uh-huh.
But anyway, back to positivity. So the gun combat stuff is a lot better than it has been before. Although mouse acceleration is on by default, and there's no menu option to turn it off. Oh, and there's no in-game graphic settings or any like. Oh my god, it's bad. But yeah, that pisses me off because I'm used to CS:GO with no mouse acceleration, being very precise and stuff. And now it's like swimming around, and I still have to go into the text files and change a 1 to a 0 or something. But anyway, so that's frustrating. But it's better. It's so much better to just. The weapons are way more satisfying to use, and the system doesn't rely on VATS anymore, which is like a huge plus for me because I don't like using VATS because it makes everything so much slower and just not fun.
I heard it's the other way around, that VATS is more necessary.
No, not at all. That's wrong. That's
really?
Straight up wrong. Yes, definitely. Definitely wrong.
Okay.
Because especially if you're hitting things at a distance, like you can shoot down the sights much more accurately, I think, than going to VATS and relying on the percent chance hit stuff. But I hardly ever use VATS, and it's fine. I actually tend to use VATS when it's really up close because I have trouble aiming at things that are like moving really quickly right in front of me. But anyway, that's hugely improved, and I think the world is way, way, way more interesting than Fallout 3's was. It's more colorful, and I feel like I actually want to explore it more than like in Fallout 3. Everything felt so bland and kind of copy pasted and all the same.
I might have to give it another try, but not.
I don't know.
Not until it's on sale.
Yeah, maybe give it a try when it's on sale. Play The Witcher 3 instead.
Yeah.
You'll have much more fun.
Forgot about that.
But yeah, no, it's okay. I'm enjoying it and I'll keep playing it. But yeah, the settlement stuff, the crafting and the weapon customization and armor customization, that kind of stuff, I thought that was cool and a good idea for a lot of players who play those games for like hundreds of hours, you know?
Yeah.
I didn't think that would be something that I would do, but I started making a settlement. I put it off for like 8 hours. I started making a settlement and actually enjoyed it. I was doing it just because I had to for a quest, and then I kept going. I found myself just actually building stuff, and so that's actually really cool. It's a neat feature, and it actually seems to work pretty well, surprisingly well, considering it's a Bethesda game. Although I haven't had a ton of experience with it, so I'm sure there'll be plenty of weird glitches. Like, I've heard that you can put all the beds like stacked up, and they still count as sleeping quarters for your citizens, even though they can't sleep in the beds. Stuff like that, but you know, whatever. That doesn't bother me. What does bother me, and this is something that I think just this is probably the main thing, like, design wise, that drives me crazy about Fallout 3 and 4 and New Vegas, I think too. The world is not well designed. It doesn't feel real at all. It feels manufactured by a development team. There's no consistency to like how buildings get destroyed. Like, some of them are completely collapsed and dilapidated, and then some of them are still very, very intact and fine even after a nuclear war. Like, if a section of highway is missing, like, you know, they have those elevated highways, there'll be a section missing. I expect it to be on the ground underneath because it fell, but there's just nothing. And that seems like a really tiny nitpicky thing, but it's so consistent that they clearly don't think through, you know, here's how the world worked before the apocalypse. It's just like, let's make it look kind of like an apocalypse happened. And there's no, like, you can't really tell where the bomb went off or anything. Nothing's destroyed in any consistent way. That stuff sounds nitpicky, but I think it's really important.
No, it is. Like, that was one of the... They superficially fixed some of the Mr. B-Tongue type complaints about the world of Fallout 3. They have food sources now, but they still haven't actually thought it through. They just recognize specific things and fix those. Like, they never sat down and questioned the basic credibility of their world.
What a good game developer would do is they would create, conceptually, they would create a world that hasn't gone through an apocalypse yet, you know, and then they would say, all right, now let's make a nuclear bomb go off and make it 200 years in the future, and then they would start actually designing the stuff and saying, like, see, this road used to be here, and it used to be here because of this, and it used to go here, and all that stuff. And then it feels real, but instead you feel like they just design it from the ground up as, let's make it look like an apocalypse, and that makes it totally boring and bland. Still better than Fallout 3, a lot better. But yeah, it's fun. It's fun. Some of the little side quests and even just side stories that don't even have a quest attached to them. Like, I wandered into a school, like a post-apocalyptic school. Like, all the little kids are learning from a teacher and his assistant robot, and the robot is in love with the teacher and like keeps dropping little hints at the teacher, like little "I like you" kind of hints. And that was hilarious to me. I thought it was really well done. So, like, you get these little nuggets of really good storylines and stuff, but then just so little of it is actually thought out. Like, there's a couple of characters with a Russian accent. How did they get a Russian accent? Did they come from Russia? This is 200 years after the bombs went off. If they came from Russia, how did they get there 200 years after? And if they didn't come from Russia, why do they have Russian accents? It's a little nitpicky thing, but that's a...
Yeah,
when you're trying to build a world that's fun to explore and find out about, stuff like that, inconsistencies, ruin it. And that's what Witcher 3 does so well. And anyway, I think it's an okay game. I think it's okay. I think 9 out of 10 is an absurd score to give that game, and that seems to be the reviewer consensus. It
deserves to be nominated for Game of the Year?
No. Especially not in 2015 with so many good. We'll get to that later, but especially in 2015 with so many better options. It's obviously expected that it's going to be nominated for Game of the Year, and maybe expected that it'll win, but totally undeserving. It drives me crazy that people are so obsessed with Bethesda games. They get away with so much bullshit. It drives me crazy.
And with the success of this, they will for at least another generation.
Yeah, the next game they make, probably an Elder Scrolls game, will probably be on the same engine and have all the same issues, and they'll add a couple of like really minor things.
Dual wielding,
like the next Elder Scrolls game will have some sort of settlement building mechanic because they'll carry over from Fallout 4. The same way that Skyrim had like the camera that would follow the arrows because that carried over from Fallout 3, like that, and then people will freak out and be like, "Oh, that's so cool!" And it's like, no, this is just they're giving you shit that you already have.
But it was never in this series.
Yeah, because they're totally different series.
Yeah. That's one of the most striking things about the time I spent with it. It felt like Skyrim.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. But Fallout 3 felt like Oblivion. That's so expected. I actually feel like combat-wise, it differentiated itself enough that it feels like by the minute it feels different. But the world building and all that stuff, it feels very. It's Bethesda. You know, it's Bethesda. So, yeah.
All right. I don't have anything more to say about Fallout. Do you?
I have a ton more to say about it that I'm not going to waste anyone's time by talking about.
Okay. In that case, then let's get weak stuff out of the way. So I went to a Project M tournament today at my college.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I won. Ooh.
Really?
Yeah, cool.
Cool.
I was a fox, and I played some Sheik too, and I didn't drop a set. It was just straight on through. So that was fun. I also started watching Nathan For You.
Yes, I saw that on there and I was so excited. Do you love it?
I do. That's I had forgotten about had watched the first episode, or not the whole thing, but clips from it.
Mm-hmm.
Like the job interview I had seen. It's so cool, especially
it's a very
to see
good
him
show for
beginning
like
to end.
extracting little segments from, and so you do absorb it from being on the internet. But it's so good. It's
I showed a couple
show.
people too. It's so funny.
Yeah,
he's just, it's hard to tell how much of it is real.
He's very clearly the kind of comic, like a Louis C.K. style, where like it's self-deprecating humor and it's at least somewhat true. Like it's based on how he actually is, but then he plays it up. He like exaggerates it. He's so good at just the awkwardness, just the total, the cringe awkwardness. He's so good at it. The faces he makes at people and stuff. It's, I love it. It's a great show.
It made me think like there's a shortage of comedy like that now. You don't see too much of the Jackass, Ali G style
messing with people.
Yeah, messing with people, guerrilla comedy.
I wouldn't call it a
call
shortage. I think that's always been such like a niche thing that like it's never been.
Well, I don't know. For a while it felt huge, and it just seems less so. Maybe the whole YouTube prank thing is that now. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, maybe.
But
I saw one of a guy who acted like he killed his mother's dog, and he had like blood all over the floor and stuff. It was
almost all of those super popular ones
supposed to be
straight
funny,
fake.
And it didn't look fake at all. She was crying, and it
was it
awful.
not professional?
It was not professional. It was really really bad.
Because most of them are by those channels that H3 Productions makes fun of all the time.
I don't know.
He's so funny. You should check him out.
Okay.
But these YouTube pranksters like Vitaly something X whatever, and they'll have these prefab After Effects intros where it's like Pranky Boy, like Michael Bay Transformers intro, and they're terrible. Most of them are fake. Like there's the one with Corey Peterson, the one who like scares children or pretends to scare children by taking them into his van.
I avoid the YouTube stuff.
They suck.
So I don't know anything about it. So.
That's good. I'm just surprised you managed to.
I mean, I haven't avoided. Like I said, I watched the one where the guy pranks his mother by acting like he killed her dog, and it was not funny at all. It was horrible, awful. Like he made her cry, and it was terrible.
It's just an innocent prank, dude.
Yeah, it's just a prank.
Just a prank.
It was really bad. Anyway, I have been playing one other video game other than Fallout 4. I started playing The Witcher 2. I played the prologue. And I was playing it on my brand new Steam controller. which everyone has called me crazy for getting, and I don't blame them for calling me crazy for getting it because it is not so practical for a lot of games. But I think it's only as impractical as a normal controller is. So let me explain.
Well,
before I get to Witcher 2, which I don't have much to say about Witcher 2, but so I can actually grab it so that you YouTube viewers can see. I've got it right here. The weird thing about it, first of all, is that this is the D-pad and it's a touchscreen on the left, and there's no reason for that to be a touchscreen or to be like that big or anything, because you never there's nothing to use. You don't use your left thumb for accurate movement and stuff. You don't need it. So I don't know why that exists and why that isn't a normal D-pad. And then the buttons, the A, X, Y, and B, are below the touchpad on the right, which means that your thumb has to learn the opposite of what it's used to, because it's used to going up to get to those buttons. So if you need to jump, you go right up to A. And now you have to go down to A, and it's this
That's
middle
weird.
leap that is really, really, really weird. And then the bumpers are too far forward above the... You probably can't tell from looking, but you have to move your finger unnaturally high up. When you've got your thumb up on the touchpad, it feels weird. That's a pretty small complaint. But it does have paddles on the back, which is nice, and that's something that I thought the controllers should have had for the last, 10 years. So you can't use it for, a first-person shooter, even if you don't need to be super accurate. I tried using it for Fallout 4, and the moment that I got into combat, you could do it, it worked. You could competently survive, but I felt like I was so much worse than being on the mouse and keyboard that it wasn't worth it. If I just wanted to play on the couch and I would be using a controller otherwise, one with a joystick, I would prefer the Steam controller. But if I've got the option of a mouse and keyboard, there's no reason to be using the Steam controller in a shooter. So not great for that, but better than a normal controller, because I can't use a thumbstick to aim either. That's terrible. But for Witcher 2, for example, a third person where you're just controlling the camera and you don't have to be accurate, it's awesome. You have to customize it. It's got an insane amount of customization options where an insane amount of options where you're having to learn what terms mean and stuff. It's got a little help guide that'll guide you through it a little bit, because you're learning these words that they've made up to describe how the touchpad works, and it gets very complicated, but it's kind of fun to mess with and figure out what things do, because so by default it acts like a trackball, if you've ever used one of those.
Yeah.
And if you swipe it quickly, it acts like the ball keeps rolling for a second, and so it makes the viewing a little bit swimmy. And they have a vibration thing in it that makes it feels exactly like there's a ball inside of the controller that you're actually spinning.
That's cool.
It's really cool. And they've got a couple of other cool little haptic feedback things that are whoa, that's really well done. And so stuff like that's really neat, and that's what I'm using for Witcher 2 is the trackball thing, because otherwise you're having to turn 180 degrees. You might have to swipe multiple times, or keep your thumb on the edge of the trackpad, which makes it turn at a constant rate. But if you've got the trackball, you can quickly flick it, and it'll turn around. So I like it. I actually like it. And I needed a new controller, which is the only reason I got it, because my 360 one's falling apart. And the only thing I use my 360 controller for is games that don't require precision aiming. So it's perfect. So yeah, I think I think if you're looking for an interesting new controller to just try out, it's only $50, which I think I'll get my money's worth out of it. I'll play Rocket League and Witcher on it, and probably more RPGs and stuff. So I think it's neat. My biggest complaint is that you have to use it in big picture mode. You have to start big picture mode to use it in a game, which
Why?
I don't understand. I don't know, or maybe I'm wrong about that and I haven't figured out. But I think that's correct. The only way you can get to the options is by going through big picture mode. And it has a community, so you can make a preset thing of settings, and you can upload it to Steam, and it'll be a community setting, and then
Oh yeah,
people
I
can
saw
browse
somebody
through.
make one for MGS5.
Yeah, and so when you're in a game and you pull up the controller and you go to community presets, it automatically pulls up whatever game you're using. And so, like, I was in Witcher 2, and I pull it up, and someone had already made a Witcher 2 controller, and it said, like, 150 people have used this preset. And so...
Which is cool. That's
it's
awesome.
Neat, and it works, and it's very fun. And so then you can, like, use that as a template and change it just a little bit to, okay, here's the specific things that I want. I like it. Someone asked how heavy it is, and does it feel as solid as the pad? It's not heavy at all. I think it's probably about as heavy as a 360 controller. My biggest complaint is that the plastic feels a little bit cheap, and it has like very pronounced seams on the edges, which is that's not a good controller thing, because it'll start to cut in your hand, although I haven't had that specific problem, but like you can feel the seams, which I don't like. I don't like that. But it feels a little bit, it doesn't feel super solid. But it's okay. It's not a deal breaker or anything. But yeah, it's cool. And Witcher 2's cool. Witcher 2's fun so far. It's like Witcher 3, but not as open.
Yeah. Is it hard to go back to Witcher 2 after playing Witcher 3?
No, it's different. There's some very different things, like how the magic works, and the combat is very, very, very different. But it's totally fine. A lot of the mechanics that are probably kind of confusing to new players aren't confusing because they're in Witcher 3, so like alchemy and stuff like that makes a lot more sense because it's just a slightly different mechanic, but mostly the same. So yeah, I think I'm gonna enjoy my playthrough, and I think I'm gonna get through that before I try the Witcher 3 expansion, the Hearts of Stone, which Hearthstone, which I've heard is a very, very good expansion, so I'm looking forward to it. I love The Witcher, man. I think The Witcher 3 is going to be my goatee. I don't think I can give it to Metal Gear Solid. I love The Witcher 3. But anyway, we've talked at length about that stuff. Is it time for news?
Yep. Nintendo Direct.
Tell me about Nintendo Direct.
The first Nintendo Direct since Satoru Iwata died, so it's historic in a way.
Yeah.
They announced some Smash stuff. Cloud from Final Fantasy is going to be a downloadable character in Smash 4. I don't really have an opinion about that. A lot of people are pissed.
Me either.
A lot of people are pissed because there's so many anime swordsmen in the game already.
That's the first thing I thought, is that, like, I don't own the game, but there seems like there's a lot of that.
Especially
kind of
with Shulk. With Shulk and Cloud, it's like excessive.
Yeah.
But the real announcement, I guess a lot of people are excited for this, so maybe they call it the real announcement. The real announcement is that there's going to be a designated Smash 4 Direct in December. There was that long-running ballot where you could write any character you wanted from any franchise and vote, quote-unquote.
Did Goku win that?
There was no public results or tracking of any kind, so it's basically just a suggestion box, and the whole thing is a closed process. But that's happening in December. Non-Smash 4 news, Smash Bore, more like. It's Twilight
Great
Princess
job.
HD. Yeah, thanks. Twilight Princess HD, and that is now a game that's straddled 3 consoles in a row. It came out on GameCube and Wii at the same time.
Oh, right,
it was originally meant for the GameCube only, and then they brought it over to Wii.
Yeah.
And now they're re-releasing it on the Wii U. So this is probably the Zelda game least needing an HD remaster.
And this is probably the Wii U's Zelda game. That's one. If they have a.
Yep, that's the next piece of news.
Okay.
Before we get to that, I'm looking forward to playing that game again. I like Twilight Princess. A lot of the problems with it were like minor annoyances, and usually in these HD remakes, if the Wind Waker is anything to show, that's what they put the most effort into, is like ironing out minor problems and stupid decisions. They did that with the Water Temple from Ocarina of Time on the Nintendo 3DS release. Like, they're good about that stuff.
Majora's Mask, too, had something. I don't know what exactly, because I never played it. But
I didn't play the 3D version, but I plan to. But yeah, that's what they do, and that'll be good for that game. Cool. Now, the question that was on everyone's minds, or at least mine, was, is the open world Zelda still coming to Wii U? Because they've been putting it off, and I started to think, and I wasn't alone, that they might just be saving this for the NX console.
Yeah.
That didn't actually turn out to be true. They showed it only for a second. They showed new footage of the camera panning around Link on his horse. But they said, and the new Zelda for Wii U is coming, we'll show more in 2016. So they reconfirmed that it will be Wii U.
Okay.
They did not say only on Wii U.
Yeah.
But it will be coming to Wii U. They seem to be pretty clear about that.
Okay. Good for them. I guess.
I hope it comes to the new one so I can just get it on that.
Yeah, it sounds like they're going to have another Twilight Princess situation to me.
At least this time it'll make sense because it won't have a crazy new control scheme. Maybe it will, but...
Yeah, who knows? Who knows what the hell that's going to be. Maybe it'll be a mobile version of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, weird stuff. It's Nintendo. What a company. What a weird company.
I don't have anything more to say about them. I went to this website that you posted, and I had no idea what to make of it.
Yeah, moving on to the next thing. This isn't really news, this is just something I wanted to mention, because I found out about it. I just totally found out from this, like, just totally random browsing the internet, because I don't really play this game very much, but Elite Dangerous, it's a game that I like, and that I've talked about. I found out about a community in that game, and I just think this is so cool, and this is something that speaks to how neat, like, open world, space sim, multiplayer games are. There's a community in Elite Dangerous that is dedicated to saving people who've run out of fuel. And so in that game, you've got a limited fuel supply, and you have to refuel at stations. And if you run out, it's floating through space without any fuel. And so what they do in this community is, like, you can post to their website or whatever and say, I'm stuck in this sector or whatever. They'll come save you with more fuel, and they'll transfer it to your ship. And I just thought that was such a neat, like, that just speaks to how those games can be really cool, and a lot of them don't quite live up to it.
What would you do without them?
You just start a new character. You have a self-destruct button.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, not a new character. You would keep your money and stuff. You would destroy that ship. That ship's gone if you get stuck, as far as I know. So, like, you can't just, like, spawn in a station and go save your own ship because you're in it. So, yeah. I
had no idea that this was related to Elite Dangerous. All I saw was fuelrats.com and these, like, obscure lines about requesting fuel. And I went to the chat room there, and the code, I thought it was like some marketing campaign first.
It kind of looks like that a little bit.
Like an I Love Bees thing.
But, the website doesn't do, like, a great job of, like, saying here's what we do. But I think, like,
it's for people who already play.
It to you. Yeah, or someone links it to you if you, like, say, like, oh no, I don't have any fuel. They say, oh, well, go to this website and sign their little form.
That's really
there's,
cool.
Like, it has, like, an emergency. So you actually, when you completely run out of fuel, your systems will stop working, like, one by one. Like, you'll start running out of power, and so you'll start running out of oxygen, and you'll have a limited amount of time to survive. The ship will start getting cold. It's, like, really in depth, and so they have, like, an option to say, like, this is an emergency and I need help right away. And, like, apparently some of the members, like, have an app on their phone that'll actually, like, if you sign up that it's an emergency, it'll, like, alert them and they'll come get on the game to save you. And I think it's silly, cool. But it's so cool. I love that exists. So yeah, that's it. That's not really news, but it's interesting.
Did you hear, Skip? Did you hear about the greatest new esport to hit the shelves, courtesy Blizzard? Overwatch.
To be fair, first of all, we're talking about Overwatch. To be fair, I don't think it's being marketed as an esport, really. Or, like, not overtly. Not in the way that a lot of other games have. It is, this game, Overwatch, I watched some footage of it. It's in beta right now. And I actually think it looks really fun. It's a Team Fortress 2 clone. Like, it's just straight up a Team Fortress 2 clone. There's no ambiguity here. Like, they very clearly took Team Fortress 2 and said, let's make that game, but make it better and make it more Blizzard. And and it looks like they might have succeeded. It looks like a really, really awesome. Like, you should look up footage of this game if you like Team Fortress 2, because it actually looks like a lot of fun.
You know what? I will.
It.
Okay. Because I've been looking for a Team Fortress 2 that's actually good.
Me too. I think it's good timing. Like, it's like, all right, Team Fortress 2, the people who used to love it don't love it anymore. The people who still play it are bronies and children. And so I think they saw the market there, and they said, all right, let's make that. But some of it is really shameless. Like, there is a class that's basically the demo man. You launch grenades that bounce and explode, and then you can launch a type that you can instantly blow up. And then there's an engineer that builds a turret and just hits it over and over to build it up. Very obvious, like, and the game modes. You push a little cart.
Part of what makes that game, TF2, so good is the personality, or did. So that's, like, the characters themselves.
Yeah. Well, Blizzard, you probably know that Blizzard is actually really, really good at personality, at like making interesting looking characters and stuff. It has its own style, it has a similar cartoonish kind of look, I think, to Team Fortress 2. A little bit less like airbrush style, that kind of thing, but like it does have a very unique looking style, a little bit of a cartoonish style, and the characters are very, very well done. Like, they look really neat. Like, there's one of them. He's a robot, and he hovers with his, like, legs crossed, and he has his hands up here, and he's got, like, little orbs, like explosive orbs or something like that, and he controls them, like, telepathically. And if you watch someone playing him in first person, well, you can only play in first person, I think, but if you watch someone, it's in first person, and, like, he's just shooting his hands out and, like, doing different little movements with his hands and, like, controlling the orbs. It looks really... There's one character that has, like, a charge move, and if he hits someone... I think it depends on how far you push them, but you hit someone, and if you smash them against the wall, like if you started from like really far back, then you'll like instantly kill them from smashing them against the wall. There's a lot of really cool stuff that isn't cloned out of Team Fortress 2, but there's also like a class that heals you by having a beam connected to you and stuff like that. So it does. It's a mixture of. It took what made Team Fortress 2 great, and then they put stuff in it that's very Blizzard, and made it a little more in-depth and kind of more interesting. Like you have ults. It's like a MOBA because you've got ults, and you charge up your ultimate ability by making kills or doing damage or whatever. And then you've got your super powerful ability. And then you've got another ability that just recharges, or another two abilities maybe that recharge in like 10-second intervals. So there's a little more... Each character has a little more to learn, a little more options of how to play or things to use in their play styles. There's, instead of 9 characters, I think there's like 15 or 16, it looks like. So it looks really good. I think I'm going to get it. It's only $40 too, I think.
That's good.
Except on consoles it's $60, because I think there's a version you could buy on PC that's $60, and I think it comes with like skins or some stupid shit like that that I don't care about. So but it's not a free-to-play game. It's $40. Although it might have a free-to-play option for like trying it out. I don't know.
That's really good. I'm glad that it's not free-to-play. Yeah, that alone has made me a lot more interested. I thought it was free-to-play.
Everyone thought it was going to be free-to-play, and it was a surprise when they announced it wouldn't be. But I think they will have microtransactions, I'm sure. But I think they're probably going to go like the Dota 2 route of cosmetic only, you know, and hopefully it won't be as obnoxious as Team Fortress 2's. But I think Blizzard's okay. I kind of trust Blizzard to stay cool with that stuff, I think. But the obviousness of how they've copied Team Fortress 2 made me realize that, you know, Valve made Dota 2, and Dota 2 is based off of a mod for Warcraft called Dota that uses like a lot of... I don't know if you're aware of this, but Dota uses a lot of like characters from Warcraft. So in Dota 2 you can see the similarities to Warcraft characters, but they make them just different enough to avoid copyright issues, and they change their names and stuff. I think Blizzard might be a little bit salty about that. This is conjecture, but it seems like to then take one of Valve's games and say like, all right, here's the demo man, but not quite, and here's the engineer.
I never considered that.
it came to me in a realization. And I was like, oh, maybe this is a little more on purpose than than it looks. But yeah, I mean, because it's so much like Team Fortress 2, and like you're capturing points, and you're pushing a cart along a path and stuff. Like it is very Team Fortress 2. But it looks awesome. I actually think I will have a lot of fun with that game. I'm almost sure that I'm going to get it because $40 I would pay $60 for a game that's to play Team Fortress 2 again. I would pay a lot of money, like to have that experience for the first time again. Because I loved Team Fortress 2.
Maybe the magic will return.
Maybe. We'll see.
And Jeff Keighley will be the one who brings it to us.
Okay, first of all, I want to end with Jeff Keighley because that might take a while.
Okay.
One more news announcement. This is very minor because I don't think there's any details really. But J.J. Abrams is making a video game.
Woo!
In collaboration with Bad Robot and Chair, they're making a game called Skyjinx, and it's going to be, I think, like a mobile, like it's going to be on like phones and stuff.
That sounds dumb.
It sounds really, and there's comments that J.J. Abrams has made in the past of like, video games don't know how to create a story because they give the player too much freedom. And
cool.
So who knows what the fuck he's going to do with a video game. I just thought that was kind of interesting because that's the last person I would expect to try to make a game. So yeah, the Game Awards, the VGAs, the Keighleys are going to happen in 2 or 3 weeks, I think, sometime in December.
Yeah.
And they've already announced their nominees. And I want to go through them because I haven't even really looked at them in detail until tonight.
Yeah, you want to go by category?
Yeah, I'm going to go by category, and I'm just going to list off by category, and we can discuss. Let's start with the big one. Game of the Year. And this is jury voted. So they've got jury voted, and they've got public vote stuff. And this is jury voted. Game of the Year, Bloodborne, Fallout 4, of course, Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. This one was a surprise to me, but makes sense, I think. Super Mario Maker, and The Witcher 3. I think it's very likely that Fallout 4 is going to win this category, which is really sad.
I fucking hope not. It's the worst game there.
I don't think that Mario Maker and Bloodborne stand a chance, although I do think that both of those are really awesome games. I don't think anyone's going to really vote for them.
I think it'll go to Witcher 3.
I think it'll go to Metal Gear Solid 5. That's my prediction. I would give it to Witcher 3. I think it's going to go to Metal Gear Solid 5. And Fallout 4 is a dark horse. I don't know what will happen with Fallout 4 because a lot of people are going to vote for it, and it's sad. But
my immediate thought in this category, Undertale got snubbed. Undertale deserved a nomination at least. It's my game of the year.
I would be shocked if they put Undertale on this. Like that is.
I would be shocked. That doesn't mean it shouldn't be there.
I wouldn't put it on there, but I understand.
You would put Fallout 4 there above Undertale?
Okay, if I had to replace Fallout 4, I would wait for Just Cause 3 to come out.
Yeah. Undertale belongs there. God damn it. It's one of the 5 most interesting things to come out this year.
It's notable that Fallout 4 was put on here before, maybe not before Fallout 4 came out, but like soon enough that it was weird. But anyway, Developer of the Year. Bethesda. CD Projekt Red, From Software, Kojima, and Nintendo. So basically, the people who made the GOTYs.
They'll do Kojima for sympathy, or they'll do CD Projekt for actually being the best.
I don't think there's no way they'll give it to Bethesda. I could see them giving it to Nintendo. Nintendo has had a good year.
I would be amazed if they gave it to anyone besides Kojima, CD Projekt, and maybe Nintendo. I don't think From and Bethesda have any chance.
Bethesda. I don't think From has a chance because
From made one game this year, and it was buggy when it came out. How are they up for Developer of the Year?
Yeah, and also although it's a great game, it's kind of it's based on a formula. It's not like they've innovated or anything really. So best independent game, Axiom Verge, which I know nothing about. It looks like a retro platformer, Metroid style. Her Story, Ori and the Blind Forest, Rocket League, and Undertale. So Undertale,
Yes.
I guess that's why you don't see Undertale in Game of the Year, is because it's an indie game.
I guess it wasn't the same people, but they gave Game of the Year to Telltale Walking Dead once in like 2012
That's-
or 11.
Does that count as an indie game? Wasn't that
I
still
don't know.
pretty
All I'm
major?
saying is that I don't think it's right to segregate it out like this.
I think you're totally right. I think it's 2015, and you can distinguish between, like, okay, obviously some are high budget and some aren't. You got
Yes.
$60 games and non-$60 games, but I don't think the distinction matters. I think that they're making a mistake, putting those separately. Best mobile game.
Well, wait, hold on. What do you think of Rocket League being there?
I don't think
That's kind of cool.
I love Rocket League. It would be my personal independent game of the year. I would never expect it to win, and I don't know if it's a multiplayer only. Like, it's such a unique. It's like not trying to be.
I think they'll give it maybe to Ori and the Blind Forest.
I've
And
heard
I
good
don't
things
think
about it.
I played it. It's great, kinda, but it's not Game of the Year.
I think they'll give it to
material.
Undertale.
I hope so.
I think they'll give it to Undertale.
I really hope so. It
we'll
deserves
see.
it. It deserves something.
It's such a sleeper hit, though. So mobile game, who cares? Downwell, Fallout Shelter, Lara Croft Go, Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate. I guess, is that a 3DS game?
Yeah. Well,
Okay,
maybe.
So
I guess.
So they're putting handheld.
yeah.
Because they're putting handheld and mobile together. And Pac-Man 256, which I think is like the latest game from the Crossy Road stuff. I don't know. People really liked Fallout Shelter. I think that'll win. People really, really liked Fallout Shelter.
It's very popular. It's like The Sims.
And I've seen Lara Croft Go, and that's actually a cool game. It's by the people who made Hitman Go. Did I ever tell you about Hitman Go?
No.
It's a neat concept, like a $2 or $3 game, I think, or maybe even $5. And it's so the Hitman one is based on. It's not really based on the mechanics of Hitman. It's a turn-based board game, and you move along these paths, and like the enemies will be on like patrols, and so it's like, oh, if the enemy's facing this way, I can't cross here, and so you have to like think ahead and think like, how many turns will it take for me to get here? Where will the enemy be when I reach here? And then you like activate something that something else happens, and it's a neat concept. I recommend you look it up just to look at it. It's got a cool art style of like very simplistic. It does a good job with like being really low performance, but very good looking art style. And of course, the people who make Crossy Road, they make really neat games too, even though they're just blatantly copying. Although Pac-Man is a licensed franchise, so. All right, best narrative.
Oh, can I do this one?
Yes.
I see it right here. Okay, best narrative. Her Story, which we played. Tales
And I
from the
liked it.
Borderlands. The Witcher 3, Wild Hunt.
Yeah.
Until Dawn. And Life is Strange by Don't Nod Entertainment and Square Enix. For best narrative. Eat shit.
Life is Strange won't win. I can,
Of course
I can
not.
rest
Nobody
assured,
could-
But they don't deserve a nomination.
Exactly.
They're
It's-
just on there because they're that kind of game.
Yes, and it's not. It sucks, guys. Life is Strange sucks. In case you didn't know, now you know. You heard it here first on this podcast. Life is Strange is not good.
From what I've seen, all 4 of those other nominations deserve it. Those are all really
Tales
cool.
from Borderlands. I didn't
I've
finish it.
I've heard it. I've heard very good things about it. I've
I
heard people
started
really
it and liked it a
and
lot.
you liked it. So,
but okay, yeah, I might pick it back up.
and even Until Dawn, which Until Dawn was kind of a cool thing that they marketed it as being like this butterfly effect, like anything can happen. There's so many choices, and then you like look at how the paths actually diverge, and it's very simplistic and obviously, but like it's misleading. But it is really fun. Like I watched a playthrough of that, and it was really fun to like. It's a fun game. It's like kind of almost a parody of the horror genre, and I liked it. So sue me.
And you and I know that Undertale belongs in best narrative.
Yeah. Yep.
For this
I would
year-
definitely replace Life is Strange with Undertale.
A hard
Speaking-
call, but you made it.
Speaking of Undertale being robbed, best score / soundtrack. This is an atrocity here. Fallout 4
I didn't notice any music in that game.
There's
at least not
music.
besides the standard blah blah blah.
There's a theme song, which is not that great, but also the best thing in the game, music-wise. There's ambient music constantly. You don't notice it because it's bad, or it's not bad. It's just there. It's there to make noise. And then there's battle music too. Like if you're in battle, it plays a different kind of music. I don't know why that's nominated. There's no reason. And Bethesda usually like Skyrim, Oblivion, Morrowind, great soundtracks. The Fallout games, I don't know why that would be. It's just they don't cut it. Halo 5.
That's not even out.
Yeah, it is.
Is it? Okay,
Yeah.
fine. It's so bad I didn't even know it was out. I think we even talked about it on the show, and I was told it was out, and I was surprised then.
I'm not sure.
But, whatever, nobody's going to play this game.
Yeah, they are.
No, fuck
Actually.
it. No one real.
Nobody we know will.
They're made up.
Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain, which I think had a very
Maybe.
good soundtrack. I thought it was
Some of the songs were obviously great. The ones in the trailer.
the
Quiet
licensed
Theme.
songs. Yeah.
Quiet's Theme and Sins of the Father were great.
Yes,
but
very,
the
very
actual the music in the game wasn't all that memorable.
It was in a lot of the cutscenes. The in-game music was usually not very memorable, but there were several moments in that game where it was playing the custom soundtrack, and I was like, oh, this is actually a really good soundtrack,
Yeah.
and I wasn't expecting it to be. So
I don't know.
I don't know why I wasn't.
It just
expecting it to be,
I don't remember as many not those other games. The other Metal Gears, I can remember a lot of the incidental music besides the game's theme. Like
Right.
Metal Gear Solid 3, obviously Snake Eater, but even just the alert music and all of it was so good. And I can't really say that about
It's
5.
much less distinctive about 5, but I think
And here's
that said, 5 has such a good licensed soundtrack, and I think
It
that
does.
counts. I think that counts for the award. So I think it's very good. I like it a
something
lot.
that is worth noting, and that people have observed before now, but Harry Gregson Williams, the guy who made the music for Metal Gear up until now, he composed all the themes, but now on Phantom Pain he was producer. He produced the soundtrack. He
Right.
didn't actually compose it. It's because he was busy making the music for The Martian. I noticed
Really?
that right after the credits, music by
Huh.
Harry Gregson Williams, and I'm like, Metal Gear.
Huh. Yeah, that's neat. But yeah, I thought it was good. It wasn't as distinctive as all the other Metal Gear games. But that's only, it's only bad in comparison, I guess. Like, by itself, I think it's a very good soundtrack. Ori and the Blind Forest, which, who knows? I don't know. I guess. And Witcher 3, which I was surprised by, but the more I thought about it, it doesn't have a very diverse soundtrack. Like, you hear all the songs in The Witcher 3 pretty quickly. But it does a really good job of. It's a stylized soundtrack. Like the soundtrack, a lot of it comes from. Like you can actually find bands playing in towns that are playing the soundtrack to The Witcher 3. So it's made with medieval kind of instruments and stuff, and it works really well. And I think it could deserve it. It's not super distinctive, but it's good.
No matter who you are, Undertale needs to be here. Like anybody.
Undertale has the best soundtrack of 2015.
Yes.
I think by far, and it's not on this list, which is a disgrace. Yeah, yeah. You don't have to play the game to know that Undertale, those soundtracks are good regardless of context or anything.
Okay, performances.
Yeah.
Ashley Birch as Chloe Price, Life is Strange. Okay. Camilla Luddington as Lara Croft. Okay. Doug Cockle as Geralt. Nah, he's good.
Geralt's really good in The Witcher 3. Actually.
Mark
I like Geralt a
Hamill
lot.
as the Joker.
I did
Didn't
not
he
know-
say he was done doing that voice? He said that the last time he would do it would be Arkham City.
I was about to say, I didn't know that he voiced the Joker, but I don't think the Joker was a super major character in
Is it
the
like
latest
flashbacks,
he was
or-
dead. He was dead, and so spoilers. and so I think it was mostly hallucinations and stuff. Like you hallucinate him being there. So maybe he has more lines than I thought,
Could
but
be.
I don't know.
Viva Seifert, her story. Now, I think they're probably going to give it to her, but I don't think she deserves it. I think it should go to Doug Cockle or Mark Hamill.
Her story is such an interesting thing, like, by itself, but I don't think that her performance is super noteworthy.
Yeah, it's like... we talked about this when we talked about the game.
That she was faced with in defense.
But there were still lots of the I'm acting tells. Like, now I'm going to look down at my hands and raise them like this. And you could tell that she was, like, thinking about it, and it just didn't seem very natural.
But, like, she has to make it obvious enough that you can kind of figure that stuff out without it. Like, it's weird. That's such a hard job.
I kind of would have liked... I get it. I'm not saying she did a bad job.
Yeah.
But I kind of want to see a game like that with just stellar acting to the point where it invites you to question every little facial... Exactly. You felt like all you had to do was listen to what she was saying.
But it's a lot to ask.
Yeah.
But you're right. You're totally right.
I think I can ask it.
Now for the best category. Do you want to list these off?
Skippy.
What?
We finally got into a category I care about. Tell me, how has gaming affected positive social change?
So, first of all, I'm not positive. I think they had this category last year. I'm not positive that's the point. I don't know if it's supposed to be for, like, social progressivism or anything. I guess so. I don't know.
It basically is.
The Games for Change certainly sounds like it. So you've got Sibel?
Sibel. I've never heard of this. Sibel.
I don't know what this is. I think I might know what this is. I think it might be...
Sibel is a game based on a true story about love, sex, and the internet.
Yep. It's about a long-distance relationship over the internet. I don't know anything about it other than that.
Okay. Cool.
But based on the kind of people that I saw on Twitter who were excited for that game, it is a very socially progressive game. Her story, which I don't know how that...
It's got a woman in it?
I guess. Yeah.
That really seems like the only reason.
I don't know.
It doesn't really have progressive themes.
Unless the category also includes games that are changing the industry or changing how you look at games.
It just doesn't look that way.
I don't know. But anyway, Life is Strange. Sunset. Yeah. I'm surprised to see that one on there.
I forgot that I played it.
That one was so kind of widely made fun of that I'm really surprised it got nominated. I don't know. People I never saw anyone really being positive about that game. The uproar was created when the developers blamed capitalism for their failures, but I never saw someone like, oh, but it's a really good game and everyone's missing out. Like, nobody said that. I don't know. Weird. Undertale.
So this makes sense. Undertale did a good job with the, accept who you are kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, there's transparent homosexual relationships in the game. They aren't identified as anything strange or dwelled on at all. It just is there. And there's maybe you could even go as Tumblr-y as calling it a gender fluid robot.
Yeah,
in
definitely.
Mettaton, and it just is all transparently there, and they're monsters. So it feels like they can act any way, and it's fine. Like, it manages to just be totally transparent and undistracting.
It's progressive in the right way, which is not drawing undue attention to its progressivism.
Yeah,
if that's the word.
It's exactly what some people say is impossible. Like, I've heard people say, "Well, I know you types. I know you types. You are just going to bitch and moan whenever there's a minority or an LGBT character in any game, because that you just hate that." And Undertale basically proved that no, this is totally doable so long as you have a solid experience that this stuff is context for.
Anthony Birch made an essay on Tumblr or something where he made a case for
arbitrary
tokenism.
diversity. Yeah,
Tokenism.
I've read it.
If you want to get mad, read that.
I have.
And
Oh,
read that
man,
and think of Undertale and say, like, oh, wait a minute. Because what he did in, I think it was Borderlands, one of the guards
Borderlands
has
2.
like a random piece of dialogue when you walk by a garden and they say something. And he says something like, I think he says something like, my husband's really worried about me at home. And it's like, oh, dude. Like, it just feels so unnatural and unnecessary. Like, that's the wrong way to do it. So, there you go. I think Undertale deserves that win. I don't know. I don't think it'll win though.
Of course not. They give it to Sunset first.
It doesn't draw attention to it, and that's why it won't win. Ironically,
to see Sunset's name again, I played it, and I can't remember anything about it. I streamed it. It's so boring.
Yeah,
it's not even like a fun SJW game. Like it sounds like it would be. I saw people playing it.
And they were like, "This, I don't understand."
You kind of walk around and you listen, and there's just droning endlessly, and it's bad.
Yeah, I didn't see anyone being positive about that game. Even the kind of people who I would assume would be positive about a game like that, like it didn't seem to appeal to anyone. So I don't think that'll win either. I don't think anyone is. I'm shocked to see it anywhere on the Game Awards lists, but whatever. We'll see. Best shooter.
Yeah, the categories are probably getting dumb enough now that we can go through them faster until we find good ones.
Maybe.
Best shooter, fucking Call of Duty, Black Ops 3, Destiny, Halo 5, Splatoon. Splatoon's interesting. I don't think it'll win.
I think it will.
Star Wars Battlefront.
I think Splatoon will.
I hope it will. It's a breath of fresh air compared to all this other
unique.
stuff.
It's unique. It's fun. It's totally unlike any kind of shooting. Like, it changes the genre in a meaningful way. I think that reviewers.
That's exactly why I'm afraid it won't win.
I have more confidence in it. I think it will. Destiny, I think, is a strong contender because it had the latest expansion, which people really liked, and apparently that game's good now. But I think Splatoon will win that. I don't think Halo 5, Call of Duty, or Battlefront will have a chance because who the fuck would vote for any of those? Battlefront, I think Battlefront looks fun, but nobody's gonna no.
Action adventure. Now, okay, so Assassin's Creed Syndicate, Batman Arkham Knight, Metal Gear Solid 5, Ori and Blind Forest, Rise of the Tomb Raider. I forgot Batman Arkham Knight came out too.
Because it didn't. It got retracted.
But then it got put out again. It's out on PC. It's out on PC, and I didn't even know it. Apparently, it's still not good.
Apparently, it's still broken. Because last time I saw, they had an announcement where they said, I forgot how they worded it, but they basically said, "Yeah, this game's broken, and we're not fixing it. Like, we're gonna try to make it as playable as possible, but it is impossible to actually fix." And that's why they gave everyone a refund on it. So. Yeah.
Well, I saw somebody of my Steam friends playing it, and they just said it came out, but it was Chris, so who knows?
Maybe he already owned it. You had the option not to refund it, I think. So maybe he already owned it. I don't know.
Somebody cleared this up. If people are still in the chat.
Yeah.
So if somebody knows, let us know.
People are suffering through this for some reason. I think if MGS5 is nominated for a category, it will win that category. So there you go. I also don't think anything else on here is that pretty much.
I don't think for Game of the Year necessarily, or
okay, yeah,
Developer of the
whatever.
Year.
I think if it's on this list,
yeah, and it probably should.
Yeah.
As an action adventure game, definitely compared to those other games. Role playing game. This is probably the hottest competition. Bloodborne, Fallout 4, Pillars of Eternity, Witcher 3, and Undertale. Your pick, I assume, is Witcher 3.
Yep.
Yeah, mine's Undertale. I haven't played Witcher 3, and that's all I have to say.
Fallout 4. I don't think Bloodborne should be on there. I think Bloodborne should be an action adventure. I think Bloodborne's far away enough from the RPG genre. I don't think it belongs there.
It feels more like weird. An action game than Metal Gear Solid 5 did in some ways.
Yeah.
You spend lots of time just managing menus.
You spend
and stuff.
way more time. Yeah, you spend way more time on RPG-like mechanics, and way more time in MGS5 than Bloodborne. And I don't know anything about Pillars of Eternity. So
it's that Obsidian game. I have to play it. It's supposed to be very, very good.
Okay. I know nothing about it.
Extremely good. Best family game. Disney Infinity 3.0.
We're skipping. You're skipping fighting game.
Oh, yeah, they're not Smash, so I couldn't even see them.
Guilty Gear, Mortal Kombat, Rise of Incarnates, Rising Thunder.
I definitely
Rising Thunder is an alpha.
Is it?
That game is not out.
Yeah, it's an alpha. Wow.
Okay, that's a weird precedent to set. Really weird precedent to set for them. Maybe they don't realize it's an alpha. I don't know.
Who knows?
That should not be allowed, in my opinion. I don't know. I know nothing about fighting games. So there you go.
Okay, so family, there's a bunch of stupid shit, and Splatoon and Super Mario Maker. I'd be cool with either of those winning. I think that Super Mario Maker is much more of like a family game than Splatoon, because it's just the way you play couch co-op with other people in the same room. It's so much cooler in Super Mario Maker. Splatoon, it's like this watered-down version of the regular mode, where you have controllers and you do it on the same screen. It's not very good.
I've seen that, yeah.
But Super Mario Maker, you have a person building and a person like play testing it in real time, and I've played it with a group of people. It's so fun.
I didn't know that was an option in Super Mario Maker.
Yeah, that's one of the greatest things about it.
Cool. This depends on how this category is judged, because like Disney Infinity, Lego Dimensions, Skylanders, those are super popular with the kids. And if the reviewers are basing it on like how much do these games appeal to kids, then one of those will win, because those are super popular. But yeah, Mario Maker. If I were a dad, Mario Maker would be so perfect. Man, like sit your kid down and make a level together. You know, like that would be such a good family activity. That one deserves to win, but who knows?
Best racing game
or sports game. FIFA 16, Forza Motorsport, NBA, Pro Evolution Soccer, Rocket League. Rocket League wins. Rocket League is the only sports-related game that has interested me. I mean, I actually liked Project Cars a lot. I'm kind of surprised that's not on here, but you know, Rocket League.
I'd give it to Rocket League because that's the only one of those games that I played.
And it's the only one of those games that isn't a sequel to a franchise that's been going on for like a decade.
Yeah. Oh, Pro Evolution Soccer actually uses the Fox engine. Fun fact.
Yeah.
Fun
Which
fact.
is weird.
Okay, best multiplayer: Call of Duty Black Ops 3, Destiny, Taken King, Halo 5 Guardians, Rocket League, and Splatoon.
I would give it to Rocket League. I wouldn't be surprised if Splatoon won.
I played Splatoon way more than Rocket League, and I think Rocket League's multiplayer was still like more sound than Splatoon's. Splatoon's feels very weird and Nintendo-y, like the rotation of maps, and as a multiplayer game that I could just keep going back to, if it was more up my alley, I'd say Rocket League is better.
People loved Splatoon's multiplayer, though. I saw people playing that for a long time, but I actually wouldn't be surprised. I would actually switch my... I would say Rocket League is more likely to win, actually, now that I think about it. Now that you said that. It's really good, and people really like it. Most
anticipated game! I'm so hype!
Wait, where's that?
It's right below Best Multiplayer.
Well, Best Art Direction is on... You must be reading...
I'm reading a different list.
Yeah.
It's the same nominations
list,
in a different order.
Anyway, Best Art Direction, that's the one that I've got, which is Batman, Bloodborne, Metal Gear Solid 5, Ori and the Blind Forest, Witcher 3. I'm weirded out by this choice of...
I would gotta say Bloodborne for that list.
Ori and the Blind Forest is the only one that has an interesting art direction.
I missed Ori. Well, Bloodborne looks very nice. It has distinct art direction.
Yeah, that one I think is the only other one that belongs here, because Metal Gear Solid 5 doesn't have... It looks better than any game, like...
They might have mixed up art direction and direction, like camera direction in their head. Because, we can maybe consider part of the art direction.
Or just maybe camera... graphics count. Yeah, I don't know. Because Witcher 3's on there, and Witcher 3 doesn't have
I think it does. I think it does. Maybe not distinct, but it has an art direction that's different from even The Witcher 2. That when you go out on that balcony, so much of the art direction is dependent on realism. Yeah, but the way that it's lit is very just... It's lit very well, and it's beautiful.
But I think we're talking more about graphics. I think that and Metal Gear Solid 5 are talking about graphics more than art direction.
Well, what I was talking about for Witcher 3 was art direction.
don't know.
The way things are lit,
you're saying it's
the saturation of the colors.
Though.
Well, I'm going farther than that. I'm saying that if you look off at a tree in Witcher 3, from what I've seen, that it's colorful. They have these red autumn trees, and that is part of that game's art direction.
Yeah, I'll give it to you. Yeah. I think that there is a style, but it's mostly realism. It's just weird. I think the choices are weird. I think, God, I don't know what else I would put on there necessarily. Undertale might deserve a mention, but I'm not a huge fan of the pixel art stuff.
Yeah, it does its job.
Although I wouldn't even call it pixel art. It's just retro art. But I don't know. I guess that's just it's a weird year for art directions, maybe.
I could have sworn there were a couple really good-looking games that came out this year.
Splatoon had a style, but not like a super interesting one. I don't know.
Maybe not. I mean, this year had like a big set of AAA blockbuster. So maybe this is not so much the year of the crazy art.
Artsy, or I'm not saying artsy in a bad way, but it's not a year for artsy games that have an interesting style. It's just not a lot of those have come out. So maybe, whatever. Who cares? Now, what you were moving on to was the fans' choice categories, and I'm not sure.
Most anticipated game.
I'm not sure if the nominees. I'm not sure if the nominees were chosen by fans, or if these are just
games
chosen
people want
for
you
to
be
on.
excited for.
I don't know. I mean, by the look of the anticipated ones, it looks pretty legit.
Yeah, I believe you. It was a joke.
Okay. Horizon Zero Dawn, which that one might be mine. My choice. No Man's Sky, which is obviously. Although it's been going on for so fucking long that I feel like all the hype has died down. Quantum Break.
No. I don't even know what it is.
It looks like it's very cinematic. I think it was going to be like tied to a TV show. I don't know if it still is. And you like pause time and stuff. Yeah, it's not. Anyway, The Last Guardian.
Last Guardian is mine.
That's reasonable.
Hands down.
And Uncharted 4. Which, you're an Uncharted fan, sure. There's three esports categories. Wow.
And they're like all League of Legends and Dota.
Well, you got Game of the Year, Player of the Year, and Team of the Year.
So let's do Game of the Year first. Esports Game of the Year. Call of Duty, Advanced Warfare, my favorite esport.
Why is that on there? I guess because they needed
money.
A fifth. I hope not.
Why else? It's money somewhere. They were either paid to put it there, or the number of fucking people who buy this garbage.
There is a Call of Duty MLG scene.
Yeah,
same for
fuck
Halo.
them.
But Halo's more reasonable than Call of Duty, at least. Like Halo does, you can win through. I don't know. Call of Duty's terrible. Okay. Counter-Strike.
Dota 2, League of Legends, Hearthstone. And I'm not
Who cares?
I'm not saying this just because I'm into Smash, but this has been Smash's most like explosive year of growth in a long time. That it's reached a profile just in like the last few months that it's really never had before.
Has the release of the new Smash Brothers affected that? How's that?
It kind of has, but it took a while for like the Melee filter to happen. I don't know about a while, but Melee is so much more intimidating. So even though a new Smash game gets people thinking about it again, the people that it brings into the fold, they have to put in a certain amount of effort with tech skill and just being competent enough to play.
Yeah.
And you have to be dedicated. So a growth in Melee is a lot more significant than a growth in Smash 4. Because you can play Smash 4 and be competent at a local tournament, because it's the game. You do what you want, and it's very easy to execute everything. So, I don't know. I'm just saying that maybe Smash as a whole, maybe let's not be Melee elitist. The growth of the Smash scene in general has been significant enough. It might have deserved a nod. definitely over Call of Duty Advanced Warfare as an esport.
Yeah. Well, cool. I'm not surprised that wasn't put on here. Because
I'm not surprised.
I still think that that's a cult following. But yeah, that's cool. I enjoy watching. I wish Smash was more popular because I would love it if like there were big Smash tournament events. Although I also like watching them when they're in like they've rented out like a small hotel room and not room but like banquet hall. And you just got like a kind of a hodgepodge crowd of people in there, and they're all just crowded together and all screaming and stuff and like trading money and all that shit. So I don't want to see that go anywhere either. I don't know. You can take these because we're out of order.
Best fan creation.
Okay.
GTA 5 targets.
What
GTA
the fuck
Machinima.
is that?
Portal Stories. Mel. I'm guessing another Machinima. Real GTA. It's one of those. We put a whole bunch of video effects over a thing and made it look like a video game. I hate those. Twitch plays Dark Souls. None of those should win.
What?
Actually, I haven't seen GTA 5 targets or Portal Stories Mel, but that just sucks. But okay, here.
Twitch plays Dark Souls is cool that they've done what they've done with that. I mean, it's cool that they built the system that works and all that, but yeah, that's silly and stupid.
I want to get through the rest of these quickly so we can get to the most important category. Okay, Esports Team of the Year. Evil Geniuses, Fnatic, Optic Gaming, SK Telecom, and Team Solomid. I think it should be Evil Geniuses because they have PPMD and I like him in Melee.
Esports, I don't know any of that stuff. Okay.
Esports Player of the Year. Kenny S. Shrub. Lee Faker Sang Hyuk.
He's
Olaf.
an offer.
Yeah, Kenny S. is. Olaf Meister. Peter PPD Dagger. And Syed Sumail Hassan.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, the Syed guy. I know him because they did a little segment on him. He's like really young, I think. He's like 15 or something.
He looks very young.
Or he started when he was very young. I don't know. It's one of those two things.
Okay.
Whatever. Who cares?
Now the main event. Trending Gamer.
Oh no.
Trending Gamer.
Oh no.
So.
What is this?
Our first candidate, Christopher Montecristo Michaels. I've never heard of this man.
I think that's an esports commentator. I think he's like a Dota 2 or something.
Is he?
I think I've seen his face commentating.
A League of Legends, it looks like.
There you go.
Yeah, League of Legends caster. Okay, whatever. Okay, now here's the squad. This is the A team. PewDiePie. You know, the old favorite, the mainstay. A pillar of the trending gamer inner circle. PewDiePie bringing the laughs.
He's really trending right now. He really blew up.
He is on an especially notable.
Found a new audience in 2015.
This has been his year.
Yeah, definitely.
This is the year of PewDiePie. It's also the year of Markiplier. He's got a great year. This is a great year. For great games and great Markipliers.
Oh my god, no, is that the guy who like does the voices and shit?
He does the he's just deep voice Let's Player.
Like he did the Dark Souls. He was one of the people on the there was a Dark Souls YouTube community video where they compiled a bunch of Dark Souls videos, like segments from Dark Souls videos, and he was like the worst one because he was like
yeah, he sucks.
I didn't know who he was then. Now I do.
Yep, he's an annoying Let's Player. He plays Five Nights at Freddy's, is what he's probably most famous for.
Great.
Now, okay, gamers, let's take it down a notch. This one's sad.
It's gonna be between these two next ones.
Total Biscuit, trending gamer. I guess he's trending too.
He has cancer.
He does, and that's legitimately sad.
It is.
Yeah. Anyway. I don't have anything more to say about Total Biscuit. I feel bad. Okay.
Here we go.
Here's the main event. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up. Check it for Game Over Greggy. Greg Miller, Kinda Funny Games, coming at you with some cool kills. And what else did he say?
Cool kills, awesome moments.
Awesome moments.
Scary moments. Cool kills, scary moments, and I don't remember.
Guys, Greg Miller Thank you, Greg. Can we take a moment
he
to
had
thank
exclusive
Greg?
access to Metal Gear Solid 5 before its release so that he could stream it. He's trending.
Yes, Patreon got $1 billion.
And he totally deserves it. I mean, he's such a voice of our generation, and he's so eloquent at expressing what we're all thinking about video games, about what are the cool kills and scary moments of video games. He'll tell you. He'll play Metal Gear Solid 5's first several hours entirely in the night vision mode.
Guys, chatters, push to shouters, commenters, tell us what is your coolest kill?
And 2015 was a great year for push to shout.
And why are
second season?
Yes, exactly.
And they didn't bother to put us on the list,
which I think is an oversight on their part.
Yeah, I
personally
don't think it was an intentional put down or anything. I think they
snubbed Undertale. They snubbed us. This whole organization is just
really
a crock of shit at this point.
We're really too good for the Keeleys.
Yeah, we are, aren't we?
So
I think we're too good for just about 90% of all human beings on the planet.
Jeff Keighley tweeted out, before he announced the nominations, Jeff Keighley tweeted out a poll that said, what are you most looking forward to seeing at the Game Awards 2015? And it was between world premieres and awards. And 80% of the votes went for world premieres and 20% of votes.
World premiere.
And I mean, I kind of agree. I care more about seeing the trailers than I do the awards, but
yeah,
it's also kind of sad when it's the Game Awards and 80% of the people are going there for trailers.
That's true, but
it's understandable.
Yeah, nobody ever took these televised game award events seriously, ever, really.
The last year is the farthest they've gone in making themselves look actually professional and legit. Last year's was, do you remember? Last year's was good. It was enjoyable and it was professional.
And the year before that is the one where they had some.
It was a disaster.
Wait, was it? Or...
Yes.
So did they only have won the Game Awards so far?
Yes, I think they've only had one. That was still a VGA, or maybe it was in the transition. I don't know.
Whatever the last Keighley... Yeah, I think there's only been one Keighley Awards. Anyway, the Keighley Awards were good because they cut to the chase. They showed people what they wanted.
They used to be ironically good. They used to be fun to watch, kind of the same way that E3 used to be fun to watch for all the fuck-ups and crazy, awkward shit going on. And, I mean, the one before last year was disaster. It was a disaster in very specific ways. Overall, it was fine. It was okay, I guess, but that was the one with what's his name, the comedian hosting it, who made fun of
Joel
nerds
McHale,
and gamers, and everyone got mad. And then I think they also had Tyler the Creator and his crew there, which was just totally awful and embarrassing. So yeah, weird. They had Elijah Wood there. Weird.
Okay.
Fucking last year's had Kiefer. And he was the best part.
Yeah, he was very sincere.
He was. It was awesome. All right. That was long, I think. What are we at? A minute and a half. An hour and a half, so.
Yeah.
A lot of time on those awards. Looking forward to seeing who wins and making our own, not necessarily game of the year, but I'm going to make another video.
Yeah, me too.
Where I plan to make another video. Because that was a lot of fun last year.
It was.
And maybe we'll have a podcast where we make categories or something. I don't know. I think we planned to do that.
It's the holiday season.
Yeah.
Shooby-dooby-doo. That's Bill Burr's. Have you listened to the Monday Morning Podcast?
Yeah, I do.
That's his go-to whenever he's talking about the holidays.
I haven't heard him do that yet.
You'll hear it soon.
All I know is just check it in on you.
On the ladies.
The ladies.
All right, ladies. Thanks for watching.
I'm glad you introduced me to Bill Burr because that's been very enjoyable.
Thanks for watching, ladies. Take care. Tune in next week to Push to Shout Radio.
That's right.